right now, we're going to bring our former State Department Deputy Special Envoy, Ellie Cohanim. Thank you very much for joining us, Ellie. You joined us during the breaking coverage yesterday. You're back. Thank you very much for being here. We're obviously watching market reactions here in the United States. The Dow seems to be up 300 points. Oil right now, in the middle of all this, is selling off about $6. It is an enormous sell-off in a moment of obvious uncertainty. So we're trying to interpret the way the markets see this, potentially more symbolic than anything, especially if there was a heads up that this was coming to the United States. We know they're meeting in the Situation Room. That is ongoing at the White House at this hour. Please do bring in, as Jillian was talking about, the regime in Iran and what you see happening next here.
Well, Sandra, I think the markets have it exactly right, which is that it seems from the reporting that the Iranians did give, through Qatar, some sort of a heads up to the United States. And of course, President Trump and our defense establishment had been preparing for potential retaliation since before we struck the nuclear sites. But the regime right now, so they committed this attack on Al-Udeid. It's a propaganda tool for them. They're going to show it on their TV screens, claim that this was some huge victory against the great Satan, aka the United States of America, and they're gonna claim victory over this. The question, Sandra, for the Iranian regime right now is this: once you do have this propaganda play that you're doing right now, and assuming that President Trump lets this pass and doesn't decide to that any further action is necessary on the U.S. part, because it has been such theater on the Iranian regime's part, the question for the regime still stands: what do they do next? And I think the Iranian regime right now has a strategic dilemma, because they need to figure out where do they go from here. They are still in a war, in the midst of a 10-day war, where so much of their capacity has been completely destroyed by both the United States and Israel right now. And the President Trump has told them, come to the table, negotiate peace with us. The reason, Sandra, the reason this is such a big challenge for the Iranians is that they are not a rational state actor, and they are a Shiite, theologically driven regime. It would behoove them to come and negotiate a peace, but they just can't. It's so difficult for them, Sandra, because they need to continue to show their domestic audience that they reject the great Satan, they reject the so-called Zionists, and so they are right where they were before this attack, still waiting. President Trump is still waiting for them to come to the negotiation table. If they refuse to negotiate, they are leaving no room for anything other than escalation from Israel, for sure.
I want to get your reaction to this. This just in from the Saudi foreign minister statement. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, it reads, expresses its condemnation and denunciation in the strongest terms possible the aggression launched by Iran against the brotherly state of Qatar, which constitutes a flagrant violation of international law and the principles of good. Your reaction to that?
Yeah, when Iran attacks Qatar, they're attacking, in essence, the entire Gulf Council of countries, including Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, and others. And so certainly this was perhaps another strategic mistake on the part of the Iranians. But, you know, I like to share with the audience that Iran is Persian. They're not an Arab country. And this is, you know, this is thousands of years of history where the Iranians don't actually see themselves as a part of the Middle East in that way. And they've always exploited the Arab citizens. They've exploited the Houthis in Yemen. They've exploited the Lebanese through Hezbollah. They've exploited Hamas in Gaza. They've always exploited Arab populations in their war against Israel and the West. And so this attack on Qatar, to me, is actually not surprising, because they see themselves, again, as Persians. They are away from the region. They're Shiite. They're not Sunni. They're Persian. They're not Arab. And so attacking Qatar, perhaps, again, another huge strategic mistake, but within the pattern of the Iranian regime as seeing themselves as other from the region as a whole.
All really good insights. If you could stand by with us. Thank you so much, Ellie.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.